Scrapbookers, this is Megan, and I am back today with my first layout for Cut to You for the month of September. So this month, the cut files, a lot of them were about traveling, which was awesome because I just got back from a week-long trip to Missouri from Idaho. If you didn't know, I'm from Idaho, and my sisters and my mom, two of my sisters and my mom live in on the very east side of Missouri, which is about 20 to 24 hours away from my house, depending on which route you take and how many stops you take and all of that stuff. So it took us 3 days, that first trip to their house, to get to their house. So this is going to be a layout about our first day of travel, which we traveled from our side of Idaho to Denver, or I guess Colorado Springs. And it took us 12 hours. It was only supposed to be about a 9.5 to 10 hour trip, but we had 2 hours of delayed time because of traffic, and the biggest part was construction. There was so much construction in Wyoming that I wasn't counting on and that Google didn't know about for some reason. I don't know. It was really weird. So it was supposed to only take about 9.5 hours, and it took us 12, maybe a little over 12. I don't even remember. But by the time we got to the place we were staying at that night, we were zonked. Like, we were so tired. So we just went to bed. I think we got there about 9:30, 10 o'clock. I don't even remember what time it was. So it was insane. Anyway, here you can see I am adding my photos and my papers to the cut file right now. I will make sure to leave a link below to the Cut to You shop, as well as to this specific cut file. I was so excited to use this cut file because I knew that I had taken a bunch of photos while we were driving, or, you know, the kids had taken photos while we were driving with their photo or phones, and I also had a picture, that top picture of Tinian, where he has a sock on and then a shoe on. And this story is just so funny to me. So I think about 6 hours into the 12-hour trip, we stopped for gas and to go to the bathroom, and the kids wanted to get some snacks, and so I was getting gas. I sent the kids in to go to the bathroom and to pick out their snacks or whatever. And when I got in there, I noticed, wait, Tinian only has one shoe on. Why does he only have one shoe on? And earlier, like maybe an hour earlier, he had been complaining about how his foot was asleep or something. And so he said he was going to take his shoe off. And so I was like, okay, fine. And apparently he didn't want to put his shoe back on to go inside. So even though he had to walk across the dirty gravel ground because it was out in the middle of nowhere gas station, like, he didn't care. He just walked across the gravel without his shoe on his right foot. It was so weird. And I was standing in line and I was like, oh my goodness, kid, I didn't even notice. Like, I couldn't believe it. So of course, I had to snap a photo. So that is going to be the funny story for this day of travel. And I actually, by the time I get done with all of this, backing the photo, or backing the cut file and everything, I decide that I'm not even going to embellish a ton. At first I was thinking, okay, I'm going to embellish. I'm going to, you know, add more of a title, and in the end I don't. I decided to add a sequin pocket there to the right above the E, and so I'm gonna glue that down. I think actually I already glued everything down. I didn't want to make you guys watch all of that because it seriously took like an hour to just glue everything down. It was so difficult. I don't know why. But here I am going through all of my embellishments and things like word phrases and stuff like that. And so I'm going to put a few of those down on each of the photos, and I'm going to keep the embellishing to the very bare minimum because I wanted the photos and the cut file just to pop out. So the photo on the far left in the third row down, that is actually a picture of where we stopped, I believe. I don't think it was where we stopped when I noticed Tinian's shoe, because I think that was only 4 hours away from Denver. So that might have been a little bit later than his shoe incident. But I thought it would be kind of fun to include a photo of the GPS as we were driving along at one point when we had stopped to get gas. And here you can see I am using a few travel themed embellishments, and those I actually got in, I think it was a kit a long time ago. I don't even remember. And so I'm going to use those. I didn't think I was ever going to be able to use those because we don't really travel a lot of places. Like the farthest place I have ever traveled is probably to Southern California, like the San Diego area, which I think is 12-ish hours. Maybe it might be 15 hours. But I have an aunt that lives in Las Vegas, and so we usually go stay with her, and then we finish going the rest of the way to visit the rest of the family in the San Diego area. Anyway, sorry that I got off track there. So that's like 15 hours is the farthest that we've ever driven, I think, with the kids and everything. And so, yeah, it's like driving this 24-hour trip to my mom's was like insane. I don't know if I ever want to drive again. My kids are already begging to go back, and I'm just like, I want to go back, but I really don't want to drive. So here you can see I'm just gluing down all of these embellishments and adding some sequins. Of course, I've got to add sequins. I apologize about the zooming in and out. I didn't realize my my autofocus feature was on. Usually I try to turn that off, but it had been a while since I had scrapbooked. So I did use some Spiegel Mom scrap sequins. The ones that I use are actually, they're all old, which is so funny to me because I don't normally use old sequins, but it was fun to kind of use some old ones. So I used Gunmetal Gray, A Day in the Woods, and Aqua Punch, and I just pulled out the main colors that are on this layout from those 3 sets. Here I'm going to do my journaling. Of course, I don't have my layout in front of me, so gotta grab it. Our first day of travel to Missouri was tough. There was so much construction. The 10-hour drive took 12. By hour 6, Tinian was complaining and took his shoe off. He didn't put it on when we took a potty break. So that is my quick journaling. I probably could have continued the journaling somewhere else on the layout, but I didn't want to take away from the cut file. So I decided just to keep it super simple. And I probably actually will add more on a Project Life page about that funny incident. Anyway, make sure you check out my links below. Thanks so much for watching, and I will talk to you later. Bye!